Nigeria is a nation with rich cultural heritage, artifacts, and monuments. Today, we take a spotlight on the National Commission for Museums and Monuments. We have a chat with the professor who is spearheading this great commission in the person of Professor Abba Issa Tijani. He takes us through the activities of the commission and how it has gone ahead to achieving its mandate. This is Top Matters, and I am Victor Emmanuel.
Nigeria, a land teeming with history and diversity, is home to a multitude of cultural sites from ancient civilizations to colonial influences. These sites embody the essence of Nigeria's past, serving as time capsules that bridge the gap between generations. Today, we spotlight the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, a government agency dedicated to preserving, promoting, and developing Nigeria's cultural heritage. In achieving its mandate, the National Commission for Museums and Monuments is spearheaded by Professor Abba Issa Tijani, who is the Director General.
Well, the National Commission for Museums and Monuments is actually the oldest parastatal in the Ministry of Information and Culture because it dates back to the colonial time when it was an antiquities department. So the mandate of this commission is wide because there are so many areas that this commission is saddled with in order to conduct its area of assignment. So the commission, first of all, is to preserve and care and also to present to the public the cultural heritage of Nigeria. And it does so in different ways by establishing museums across the country so that the museums can be the institutions where such artifacts and cultural heritage are stored and displayed to the public. And also, we have what we call the national monuments. So any of our cultural heritage edifice or site that is considered as historic and also designate the cultural heritage of the community is identified and declared as national monuments. So the National Commission for Museums and Monuments is saddled with that process of identifying and listing national monuments for the president to approve. The commission is also mandated to give approvals for the establishments of museums in Nigeria, whether it's private or whether it's under government institution or state governments. And the commission is also saddled with the responsibility of, overseeing these museums to see that they function within the, law, and they provide the care that is required, of their collections, and to be able to also to present to the public. So, and the commission is also saddled with the responsibility of overseeing any archaeological activity in the country, meaning if there is going to be an excavation, it is going to be under the commission. And also any artifacts that are discovered, that have been excavated from any archaeological sites is domiciled at the commission and will be the property of the federal government. And the commission is also mandated in reaching out to schools, to younger ones, in order to educate them. So that it will be providing educational programs that will, teach our youth, schools, and also young people that are coming to the museums about our cultural heritage. And also the commission is mandated with overseeing any World Heritage site that is identified. Presently, we have two World Heritage sites in Nigeria, and Nigeria is the focal agency.
The journey as the Director General of this remarkable commission hasn't been an easy one, but Professor Abba Isa Tijani has been putting in the work with his tireless team members to see that Nigeria's cultural heritage is conserved for future generations.
Well, that is the primary function of this commission because without preservation of our cultural heritage, there won't be the commission because it is within our purview to make sure that our cultural heritage is preserved and transmitted to generations to come. And with that, we were able to now start interacting with our partners as well in order to, empower our staff to have the necessary skills and understanding so that they will be able to look after our cultural heritage because it requires a lot of knowledge and skills. So we thought that we will be able to organize workshops and trainings for our staff to see that and also improve on our storage facilities because many of our stores are disorganized. So we were able to access funds from, particularly from the United States Embassy under their Cultural Heritage Support Program. We were able to reorganize many of our storage facilities across our museums in the country. Today, we can go into our storage facilities and see that our objects are organized in a way that you can easily access and identify any artifacts that you want to bring out for research, for exhibition, for conservation, or any other thing. So that is one thing that we have achieved. We are also been able to now organize our storage in a way that the environmental condition that are supposed to be provided for these objects are done in such a way that it does not affect other objects in the stores. Meaning, metal objects are kept in the same area because they need the same environmental condition from organic objects like wood, leather, and the rest, which is entirely a different environmental condition because they have some water content in them. So if the environment is too harsh, too hot, they become brittle. If the environment, is moisture with high moisture, then it grows mold and rest. So all these facilities actually enable us to preserve our, artifacts.
All these have impacted the Nigerian society in very different ways, especially in the preservation of our cultural heritage.
The process of getting more objects back to the country. And that is a way to show you that we care about our objects, no matter where they are, to see that we get them and preserve them for our people to see. And as I told you about the, support we've been receiving from the United States Embassy in organizing this as part of our preservation. And I want to tell you that Nigeria is among only 19 countries, I think, that won the grant to restore some of our artifacts in Lagos, which is about $40,000. So we have a large collection of Igbo Uku bronzes that are in bad condition, and we are able to now use this grant to restore these bronzes so that we will be able to exhibit them for people to come and see. We also have restored so many of our cultural heritage sites. The two World Heritage sites, one in Sukur in Adamawa State, we received grant from different organizations outside of the country to restore many of the dilapidated structures in Sukur cultural landscape, and also in Oshun Oshogbo, the Oshun Oshogbo Grove. We've been able to receive fund to renovate some of the sculptures that are in the Grove. And we also partner with Yale University through the Factum Foundation to actually profile a 3D, scan of one of the shrines, so that the place is susceptible to flooding. There's a lot of erosion because of the river. The shrine is close to the river, so we are doing this in case of any natural disaster. We will now have a 3D of the images of the grove, so that we can now be able to reconstruct in case of anything. So these are some of the things, and we have so many. We have about six. We have 65 national monuments in Nigeria, and we have touched on many of them. We have touched on some of our rock arts. We have done preserve some of the images, the rock paintings, together with also another foundation outside, and we've been able to also present digital images of this, an exhibition of some of these images in the National Museum Lagos.
The Commission partners with various institutions to preserve the national heritage of our country.
We have a lot of partnership, both local and international, particularly international, because of what we are doing with regards to repatriation. So if we go there to negotiate with our partners that are holding our objects for all these decades, now we are saying that we want these objects back, but it's not just giving us the objects back. We want to now agree with you so that there will be some kind of benefit for us, so that when we bring these objects, we have the necessary expertise as well as the environment where we are going to keep these objects. So most of these agreements, we now have these additional, responsibilities into them. So we have agreement, for example, with the Smithsonian Museum of African Art in Washington, D.C., where we have repatriated some objects. We have agreed on joint exhibition, support in preservation of our cultural heritage, and also in organizing educational programs for the youth, so that we make replicas of the repatriated objects, so that our youth can use and touch and feel it, which they have not seen for decades. And then we get experts to explain about the iconography of these images that are on these objects. And we also have agreement, for example, with the Metropolitan Museum, and that extended to another agreement also, because we have signed an agreement with the United States of America on cultural protection, property protection, where our objects, when they go out of Nigeria illegally for whatever reason and land in US soil, then these objects are confiscated and returned to us without any legal processes being carried out. And that agreement is called the Cultural Property Implementation Agreement.
Technology has played a vital role in digitizing the activities of this commission. This is done specially to attract the younger generations and get them interested in the activities of the commission and have access to the different collections available.
Technology is inevitable in this time, this generation, because what we notice, especially when I came on board, I noticed that the presence of our youth in our museum is nothing to talk about. They are not interested in going to museums because it's over a period of time, because of the dilapidation of the condition of the museums. So they got discouraged. The parents don't take the children there because there's nothing. You can't take your child to a place just to see objects and objects and objects. They have to have some interactive, activities. There has to be play areas. There have to be a lot of things that children can be attracted to. So not only one activity. So we discovered that these things are missing. So we took it upon ourselves to say that we have to correct this and to attract our young ones. So we have renovated most of our museums. We have play areas now, even with the US Embassy, for example, in Lagos. A beautiful playground is being completed. So children are going there now to play and so on. So, but then that is not enough. We want the young ones, the young generations, to have access to our collections. And what is attracting them is technology. So, therefore, we have to devise a way to attract them to these technological devices. So, that is why we are digitizing, because most of our collections, or all of our collections, are not digitized. So, we are now doing the digitalization so that this digitization can enable us to present our objects in different ways. We can have virtual exhibition, we can have interactive sessions with the objects, and the youth can be challenged to see this cultural heritage and answer some questions, some puzzles and the rest. And also when they come to the museum, these objects are presented in an interactive way. You have the object there, but you also have something that explains the object in a digital form. So we thought that this can be a way to, attract the youth to our museums to see the actual objects.
A major challenge the Commission faces is low funding. In spite of this, it has still gone ahead to achieving its mandate the best way it can.
And most challenges are related to funds. That's the first thing. So the commission actually has a very low budget that we cannot be able to carry out our functions of the preservation and presentation of our objects to the public. So we have to reach out. We have to look for, other means as well to support what we are getting. And that is why when I came on board, I said that there is a need for us to partner with the, public through this public-private partnership, so that we'll be able to, support this our area, our endeavor, and carry out our activities properly. We also look out to individual philanthropists that have, the interest of culture to support us in promoting our cultural heritage in ways of funding our exhibitions or innovating our galleries and so on. So we've been able to, for example, in Bauchi, where the Museum of the late Abubakar Tafawa Lewa, the first premier of Nigeria, is located. The galleries were in very bad shape, and we'll be able to get grant from NDIC to renovate the galleries and upgrade the exhibitions.
In the vibrant world of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments Museums, these awe-inspiring institutions serve as treasure troves for Nigeria's cultural legacy, meticulously curated to offer visitors an immersive experience. From the National Museum Jos to the National Museum Lagos and beyond, each museum unfolds a captivating story. In a conversation with the curator of the National Museum Jos, Mr. Fadamijo Raphael, he sheds light on their role and the significance of their collections.
National Museum Jos is the first purposefully built museum in Nigeria, and it was commissioned and opened to the public on 24th April 1952. And it didn't just come as an accident. It came as a result of tin mining exercise on the plateau. During the course of tin mining process, some antiquity terracotta objects that today we call knock objects were discovered in the course of prospecting for tin. And in the process of this, many of these objects were collected, and somewhere in Pukuru, one of the colonial officers then gathered them and put them in a place. But as the number was increasing, he now felt there should be a need for a museum to properly take care of this object. And that was when the idea of building a museum in Jos started. And the foundation for this museum was laid in 26th June 1949. And it was finally, like I've said, it was commissioned on 24th April 1952. And ever since then, it has been open to the public. And it's on record that in the first year of operation, the museum recorded over 10,000 visitors. And talking about the significance of museum, generations upon generations, they have their own what I will call their culture, and they express this what I would want to refer to as civilization. And here we express our civilization in carving, in the things we use, because like writing in ABC form that we have today came with Western education. But before Western education came, we've been documenting our history in physical objects that we see. We've been making history. We've been making our own civilization in objects that we see. At times for worship, at times for religious purposes, at times for socialization. So different, and even at times to demonstrate wealth. Like those days, it's only in the palaces of king you will see carved wood. But these are part of things that illustrate our culture. So today, museums all over the world, or let me talk about Nigeria that we are into. Museum is a place where people's culture are collected, people's culture are preserved, people's culture are conserved. And the essence of this is for exhibition and education. Because when these things are lost, our past is lost. So today I will say museum, the significance of museum is that they now serve as the bank, as the cultural bank of the people.
The National Commission for Museums and Monuments dedicated preservation and restoration teams work tirelessly to protect Nigeria's monuments and archaeological sites. In our journey through the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, we're reminded of the invaluable importance of preserving Nigeria's heritage.
One way National Museum just have tried to find a common ground for these people is that we yearly, there are these events all over the world. We call it the International Museum Day. So in Jos specifically now, we have taken this celebration to a level where every ethnic group participates. Yearly, we have provided, Museum in Jos has provided a platform where every ethnic group come to demonstrate, come to display what they have as culture. For instance, this year is the Kanem people that is the culture of focus. So the way we go about it is that we have a culture of focus. When we have a culture of focus, those ones, they will come and display everything that represents their culture. Everything that represents their culture. And aside from that, every other ethnic group too, they will come up to they just bring one aspect of their culture. And at the end of it, what we have discovered is that every of these culture, their culture is the same thing. What is just different is cultural practices. So in a way, Museum in Jos have brought this ethnic group together to foster peace, to foster oneness.
Through their tireless dedication, the National Commission for Museum and Monuments ensures that Nigeria's diverse cultural tapestry remains vibrant, accessible, and cherished by all.
It has been a great time discussing Nigeria's cultural heritage, artifacts and monuments with Professor Abba Isa Tijani, right here in the National Commission for Museums and Monuments. What have you learned as regards preserving Nigeria's cultural heritage? This is TopMatters, and it has been Victor.